Welcome back to the channel, guys, and I hope you guys are doing pretty good. So, today is Monday, and I hope you did not have any of your Monday blues. And I hope today was a well productive day for you guys. Do let me know in the comment section how was your Monday. And today is going to be the day 11 of our 90 days SDET interview preparation series. If you guys have been watching this entire series for some time, you guys know that I upload the lectures Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. IST. Saturdays and Sundays, I'm not going to upload the lecture. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to study on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays and Sundays, we have kept that particular time only and only for revision. So whatever you guys are going to study over the weekdays with me, please make sure that you are revisiting those topics over these weekends. All right? No matter what technology you are studying, okay, you might keep on studying new and new topics every single day. But if you're not revisiting those topics on regular basis, your entire effort is going to get wasted. Trust me on that. Now, in today's class, guys, we will be taking a very hybrid approach for the lecture. We will be focusing on coding question. Along with that, we will be focusing on Selenium WebDriver interview questions. All the questions which I will be taking in today's class has been asked for the company called Fynd. The notes for this particular lecture you are going to find in the YouTube Tech with Jatin membership. So if you want to access today's notes as well as you want to access the notes of the old lecture, please join the YouTube Tech with Jatin membership. Also, guys, there is going to be a part 2 for this particular lecture where I will be focusing on the scenario-driven questions. And that lecture is going to be available for the members. So, if you're really interested, you're enjoying the entire series with me, do check the YouTube Tech with Jatin membership. Now, I hope you guys are ready. And without wasting time, let's get started with today's class. So, over here, guys, these are all the Selenium WebDriver interview questions that we will be focusing. Okay, so what is select class? What are the other ways to handle a dropdown? Write the XPath to find the login page. We're going to focus on all these questions. But my approach to take these questions for today is not in a theoretical way. The notes are there, I know that. But the thing is, we will be writing some Selenium scripts. All right. So today's class is going to be more of an hands-on kind of a stuff. The question that we will be focusing first is going to be the coding question. And I have already covered this particular question probably in some old videos. But again, it has been asked for this particular company and it's my job to take this particular question. So I'm going to take that stuff. The question is, find the first max and second max number from the list. We need to find the first maximum as well as the second maximum numbers from the list. And I can tell you something, that this particular question has been asked so many times that you really can't, miss this particular question. You have to prepare for this particular question properly. Okay. Now, how we are going to approach this particular question is, first I'm going to explain you the logic. Okay. First, I'll just explain you the logic on the blackboard. Once we understand this particular logic, we will be writing the code. But first, you're going to write the code. I'll be explaining the logic. You guys write the code. If you get stuck somewhere, you can watch the part where I have written the code for the same. All right. I hope you guys are ready. Now, over here, guys, let's open the blackboard quickly. Perfect. Now, over here, the interviewer is telling us ki Baba, you find the first max and the second max from the list. Okay. When I was working in Infosys now, way back in 2013, okay, and I guess the client over there was Hospira. So when I was giving the client around, they had asked me this particular question. Okay, they wanted to know the second max number. Okay. Now over here we have a list. For simplicity, I'm going to take an array. Okay, keeping life simple. I have an array. This particular array is going to have some numbers. 10, 2, 5, 6. Okay, very simple. 10, 2, 5, 6. That's it. Tell me which is the largest number. You're going to say 10. Tell me the second largest number. 2, 5, 6. Which is the second largest number? 6. So that should be the output of this particular program. We should be printing the largest as well as the second largest number. Now, let me ask you, how will you approach this particular problem? Like, Jatin, very simple, very simple. Just sort this particular array. Okay. Either in ascending or descending, just sort it off. Let's sort it in ascending order. 2, 5, 6, 10. All right. We do some kind of a sort and we get the elements like this, 2, 5, 6, 10. Now what you want? The largest. Largest is going to be the last element. So if this is A, okay, the array reference. So I'm going to do A dot length minus 1. I'm going to get the largest element. And if I do A dot length minus 2, this is going to give me the second largest element. So index is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3. Length is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So you're going to get this particular element. Length is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. You're going to get the second largest element. Right? Pretty simple, no? If you write this particular code in your interview, definitely you're going to get rejected. Okay. Sorting is a very expensive operation. Understand this thing. Whenever you decide to do a sorting, no? Sorting should be the last resort. Okay. You should not use sorting. Okay. You should not use sorting unless you're not able to come up with any other options. Okay. Make a note of this particular point. Because I've seen people, they think that if I'm going to do a sorting now, I'll be able to just access the last and the second last element. And I'm going to get the largest, the second largest, third largest, all the elements, whatever I need. Which is correct. But the problem is with this operation. This operation is a very expensive operation. Okay. Now, how will we approach this particular problem? So, of course, we are not going to use sorting. What we will be doing now is we will be working or we will be using a technique of assumptions. Okay? We will be using a technique of assumption. We will traverse this particular array. That's for sure. Okay? So we are going to traverse all the elements in this particular array one by one. And we will decide whether that particular number is the largest, second largest. Clear? So what we will be doing is we will be creating two variables. First, max. And I'm going to create the second variable. Second, max. Because I need the first max and the second max. So I have two variables, first max and second max. And I'm going to initialize this particular variable with something. Okay? The the reason I'm going to initialize it with certain value is because what these two variables mean for me is that the first maximum number is going to be stored over here. Whatever is there inside the first maximum is the biggest or the largest number. Whatever is going to be there in the second max is the second largest number. So I am assuming that whatever is going to be kept in the first max or whatever is kept in the first max is the largest number. Whatever is kept in the second max is the second largest number. But the question is what we should initialize it with. Yeah. You are supposed to initialize it with a number which is not there in this particular array. And I know what you guys are thinking, ki Jatin, let's initialize it with 0. What if 0 is present over here? Then you're going to say that, Jatin, we need to initialize it with a negative number. What if there is a negative number? Then what? So what we will be doing now, we will not just initialize it with some random number, okay, like 0 or something. We are going to initialize it with the smallest integer value. Okay, the smallest integer value. So over here, I'm going to say that, hey, this integer max, I'm going to initialize it with integer dot min underscore value. Here also I'm going to say integer dot min underscore value. Is this part clear to everyone? For your simplicity, assume right now that smallest integer value for us is 0. It is not 0. It is a very big negative number. Okay. I'll show you when I'll be writing the code, but for now you assume that it is going to be 0. So what we have done is we have taken an assumption. I'm assuming that first max, whatever is there in the first max is the largest value. Whatever is there in the second max is the second largest value. Now I will try to traverse this particular array. And whenever I am going to traverse this particular array, I am going to use something which is called as the for each loop. From this particular array, I'm going to try to get one by one all the values. So we are traversing this array. First time number is going to get 10. Second time it is going to get 2. Third time it is going to get 5. Fourth time it is going to get 6. In each of the iterations, I'm going to get these respective numbers. Okay. Now, what we will be doing is we will check something. What we will check? We will check if the number that I'm having from this particular array, if it is greater than the first max which I was assuming, then what? If the number which I am getting from the array is greater than the first max, we are assuming first max is 0 right now. So number is what? 10, right? The first element I'm going to get 10 is greater than 0. Condition is 2. I got a number which is greater than first max. Then what happened? What happened over here is we found a number which is greater than the first max which I was assuming. Then whatever I'm having is not the largest number. This can be the largest number. So over here, I will update first max with the number. So the first max will technically store 10. Hold on. You see, I have left some space over here. The reason for that is, if whatever was there in the first max, okay, whatever was there in the first max is less than number, okay, is less than number. So I'm going to update first max with number. But it also means that whatever was there in the first max is actually the second max, right? Whatever I had stored in the first max initially is not the largest number. If it is not the largest number, then it is going to be the second largest number. So here I'm going to update second max with first max. Okay. And then I'm going to update first max with number. So over here, this 0 will be copied and put in the second max. And over here, first max will be updated with 10. Will be updated with 10. Now, can I ask you something? When this thing has happened, have we got the first max? Did we get the first max? First max is 10, na? I got the 10. So, first max is updated with 10. We need to take care of the second max. So, in the first iteration, technically, I got the first max. Now, A is going to give me the second number. So, A is going to give me 2. So, number is technically going to have 2 inside it. Now, again, check for this particular condition. Number greater than first max. Number is what? Number is 2. 2 greater than first max. What is first max? First max is 10. Is 2 greater than 10? Is 2 greater than 10? No. 2 is not greater than 10. So this cannot be the first max. So first max is not going to be updated. But if it is not greater than first max, shouldn't we check whether this particular number, is it greater than second max? Right? So over here, I'm going to have an else if, and I want to check whether number is greater than second max, and the number should not be, it should not be, it should be less than first max. That's what you need to focus on. Okay, it should be less than first max. Are you getting the point? So either the number should be greater than second max, and the number should be less than, or you can probably say equal to first max. So over here, what is going to happen? Number is what? Number is 2. 2 greater than 0. Condition is true. And 2 less than or equal to 10. This also is true. Since both the condition is true, meaning whatever I got, this number can be the second max. So I'm going to update the second max over here. So second max is going to be equal to number. Now, over here, for 2, what is going to happen? Number is going to be greater than second max. 2 is greater than 0. Update second max. Second max is going to be updated with 2. Now, observe carefully. For these two elements, 10 and 2, first max is storing 10. Second max is storing 2. Is it storing the correct value? Right? Now, let's go and take the next number, which is 5. Okay? 5. Again, number is going to be 5. If number is greater than first max, 5 greater than 10, condition false. This is not going to be executed. Check in the else if. If number greater than second max, number is what? 5 greater than second max. Second max is right now storing 2. Okay? It is greater than 2. Condition is true. And 5 less than or equal to 10. Condition is true here also. Since both the condition is true, what is going to happen? Second max is going to be updated. Second max is going to get the value from the number. Number is 5. So second max is going to be updated with 5. So now for 10, 2 and 5, first max is 10. Second max is 5. Are we correct over here? Yes or no? Yes or no? Perfect. Now we want to take the next number, which is 6. Number is going to be 6 now. Okay, again check. 6, let's use a different color, orange. 6 greater than first max is 10, condition false. If block is not going to be executed, it's going to go to the else if number greater than second max, number is 6, 6 greater than second max is 5, condition true, 6 less than or equal to 10, condition is true. We are using AND. Since both the conditions are true, it is going to execute the else if block. Second max is equal to number, second max is going to be updated with 6. And for this particular array, guys, this all the elements, your first max is 10, second max is 6. This was the output, done and dusted. This is what you call a single pass approach. Please make a note of this particular point. This technique that we have used is single pass. What do you mean by single pass? Single pass basically means that in one iteration only, I will be traversing all the elements. Okay. Once the traverse has been completed, I will be aware of the first max and the second max. Trust me, guys, this particular question has been asked a lot of time and it's a easy winner. Once you understand the logic, you cannot go wrong. Okay. So please make sure that you practice it off pretty well. Now, I hope you guys have understood the logic. I'm going to give you exactly 5 minutes time. Okay. Start writing the code, launch your Eclipse, create an array reference, use array only, like how I have created, use this particular array only, 10, 2, 5, 6, create the first max, second max, initialize it with integer.min_value, integer.min_value, and also try to print out what is there inside integer.min_value. You'll observe that value is a very big, huge negative integer. This is the smallest integer value that an int can store inside it. Smallest integer value that an int can store inside it. Alright? And then you are going to use the... I hope you guys have written the code, guys. Now let me just quickly write this particular code. So I have this com.day11 package. I'm going to quickly create this particular class, call this particular class as what? Okay, first max and second max. That's something that we have. I'm going to zoom a little bit. And over here, I'm going to quickly introduce the main method, Control-Shift-F, fix the formatting, minimize this chap, Control-S. Let's bring this guy over here. The first thing is I'm going to quickly create an array reference. A is my array reference over here. And I'm going to give the values like 10. What was the next one? 2, 5, 6, something like this, right? So we have the array over here and we want to find the first max as well as the second max, right? So the first thing is I am going to create two variables, which is going to be first max, and first max is going to be initialized with integer dot what? Min value. I hope you guys have checked what is the value of integer dot min value. If not, let me just copy this, print it over here, click on the play button, kaboom. Okay, -214748364 Pretty sure none of us will be remembering this particular number. So this is a very huge negative number. This is something that is there, and this is the smallest integer number that you can store inside a int variable. Okay, so your int, right, memory can actually store this as the smallest value. Okay, can it store something less than this? No, it's not going to happen. Now over here we got this first max. We are assuming whatever is there inside the first max is the biggest or the largest value that we are initializing with this integer dot min underscore value. Similarly, we will create another variable called second max. Okay, now what are you gonna do? You're gonna use single pass. Single pass basically means what? You're gonna iterate over this particular array. So I'm going to say for a, and one by one I'm going to get all the numbers. So this number is my temporary variable, and all the values from the array 10, 2, 5, 6 is going to come inside this number. So just to show you that also, system.out.println number, not num. Okay, save this, click on the play button. You will notice 10, 2, 5, 6 is getting printed on my console. Perfect. Now, what we want is, we will check if the number that we're getting from the array, if it is greater than first max. Then what you're going to do, you are going to update the first max and the second max, right? That's what we do need to do. So first you're going to update the second max. Second max is going to get the value from the first max, and the first max is going to get updated with number, right? Else if, okay, if the number is less than the first max, you're going to check if the number is greater than your second max. So I'm going to check if number is greater than second max, and this is important, your number should be less than or equal to first max. Okay, and over here I'm just going to update my second max. Second max is equal to be number. Done, dusted, finish. Control Shift F. Let me zoom out a little bit, and then I'm going to do system.out.println. The first max is this chap, sys out. Second max is going to be this chap. Let's click on the play button, and if this works, we got 10 and 6 printed on the console. All right, I hope you guys have written the code so far. Perfect. Now there is one more variation of this particular program that you should remember. A lot of time in interview, they will ask you find the third max. Okay, and then you will say that Jatin, you did not teach us how to find the third max. It's the same thing. We are going to create another variable over here which is going to be called as third max. Okay. Okay. Then you're going to check if number is greater than first max. If it is greater than first max, you're going to update third max with second max. Third max is going to get updated with second max. Second max is going to be updated with first max. First max is going to be updated with number. Over here, second max is getting updated with number, but we also have the third number to take care of. So third max is going to be updated with second max. This is also we will take care of. And one more thing we are going to have, else. Okay, something went wrong over here. Let me just check. Else if, okay, number is greater than third max and number is less than or equal to second max. Same thing I'm writing over here. I'm gonna say third max equal to number, and if everything is working properly, I will be able to get the third max also. Okay, so if I'm gonna click on the play button, bring this guy up, 1065, right? I got the third max also. So this variation is also asked a lot of time in interview. What happens is people are aware of the first max and second max, okay, but they don't know how to do with the third max. This is the most optimum solution because we will get the first max, second max, third max in one iteration itself. Okay, so single pass approach over here. Quickly practice this code also at your end. Okay, write in your notebook that if you want to find the third max, you're going to introduce the third max variable. In the first condition statement, you are just going to update third max with second max, because if we found a number which is greater than the first max, meaning first max is going to get updated with number, second max is going to get updated with first max. Whatever was there inside the first max will be given to second max, and whatever was there in the second max will be given to third max. Similarly, we will check if the number is less than, or I will probably say greater than second max, but it is less than the first max. Then this condition is going to come into picture. Since the number is greater than second max, whatever is there in the second max is actually the third max. So that's what is getting happen over here, and second max is getting updated with number. But if the number is greater than third max, you're just going to update the third max with number. That's it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. That's all. All right. So this is all we had for this particular coding question. Now back to the modes over here, guys. Over here, the questions that we have now is related to Selenium WebDriver. Now, the thing is, most of us know that when you're working with dropdown, select class comes into picture, right? What is the purpose of select class? Select class is basically used to automate or handle your dropdown. Perfect. but the interviewer wants to check how will you automate the drop down apart from your select class. And this thing now is very important. Okay, if you have the notes, please make sure that you highlight question number 2. How will you handle drop down apart from select class? I think so. In the past, there was this one assignment that I have worked with, which was your red bus automation. Okay. If you haven't solved that particular assignment, it's a pretty awesome assignment. Please solve it off over there, where we are automating the red bus application. And over there was a drop down. Okay. And the way I handled the drop down was not with the help of select class, but using some custom approach. So the same thing, I'm going to do it over here, but the thing is, I don't want to use Redbus. Okay. I don't want to use yatra.com and all. I'm going to use github.com. Okay. Today we will be automating github.com account creation. All right. And then there are questions related to XPath, right? XPath to find login button. Locators in Selenium WebDriver. This is a theoretical question. Okay. Everyone knows that there are 8 Selenium locators: ID, name, CSS selector, your XPath, your class name, your tag name, your link text, partial link text, right? So everyone is aware about these locators. We'll definitely go through this theory answer. But one thing that you want to remember about your locator is that all the locators have a type. What is the data type of locator? What is the data type of locator? Data type of locator is by class. Data type of locator is by class. Difference between find elements and find elements. Everyone is aware of that. Find element is going to find the first visible element. Find elements is going to give you the list of web elements. That's something that we'll go through. Difference between the different types of wait. Okay, implicit wait, explicit wait, fluent wait. Have you used explicit wait? Where we have used it in the automation framework. If you have studied a little bit of the Selenium WebDriver with me, browser utility class, over there I have used it. And what is implicit wait? So these are the questions that we will be covering now. But here's the thing, guys. The best way to remember these questions, right, is not to mug up the answers. I see a lot of time people try to mug up all those 100, 200 interview question bank which is floating on LinkedIn. People try to sell it off on TopMate and all. It's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it. Okay, you don't remember the last reel that you watched. Okay, how will you remember 200 interview questions? It doesn't make sense. So the best way to learn anything, remember anything, is by building projects. Trust me on that. Apart from that, nothing else I think works. Okay. So what we will be doing now is we will play with a little bit of your github.com. Okay, we'll try to work on automating the account creation of github.com, and while automating all those things, I will discuss all these interview questions. Once we have done that, we'll come back to this particular document again, revisit all these questions. Perfect. I hope you guys are ready now. Now guys, we have been told that find the XPath of a particular login page. Now for that we need a login page, and as I've said, that I'll be majorly focusing on github.com. So what we will be doing now, guys, we will go to github.com. This is the github.com website, and we will try to automate the sign up page. We'll keep things simple. I don't want you guys to find the sign up locator and all those things. Let's just chuck this thing. We're going to go to sign up, and probably this is going to be the URL, right? github.com/sign up. Now, I hope you guys have added the Selenium WebDriver dependency in your project. So if I just go to the pom.xml file, and if I scroll down, you will notice that I have Selenium and I have TestNG. The reason I've kept these two chaps over here is because I don't know, in future probably I need to write some test scripts and all. That's the reason I have added TestNG also. But for now, I just want to focus only and only on Selenium WebDriver. Now, first thing first, I'm going to quickly create a class, and I'm going to call this particular class as GitHub account automation. I don't know. This is the only name that's popping up in my mind. If you guys have better name, you can use that. And this is that particular class. I'm going to introduce the main method, Control Shift F. Now the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to use WebDriver WD equal to new Chrome driver. Right? This is something right now every person who has been studying automation here and there, they are technically aware of this particular line. WebDriver WD is equal to new Chrome driver. Now, here's one thing that you should really remember about this statement. And this is something which is really important. See, you need to understand whose object is going to be created. And most of the time, people are going to say that, Ari Jatin, this is simple. You're going to create the object of a class. No, that's not the point. The thing over here is, we will always create the object of the child class. So Chrome driver technically is the ultimate child. Okay? Chrome driver is technically the ultimate child in this entire WebDriver hierarchy. The second thing that comes into picture is we are talking about WebDriver. What is WebDriver? WebDriver over here, guys, is basically the interface. And I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of this point also. But here's one thing. When you're talking about interfaces, you're talking about abstract classes, you're talking about parent classes, okay, interfaces, abstract classes, and parent classes. They will always be reference variable. Make a note of this particular point. WebDriver, your interfaces, abstract classes, parent classes, these are all going to be your reference variable. Object is always going to be created of your child class. Now, having said this, what I just technically want to launch the browser. So how do you launch the browser? Just by writing WebDriver W equal to new Chrome driver. So if I'm going to save this and I'm going to click on the play button, if everything is working the way I want, a browser should be launched. Done and dusted. This is where your browser is launched. And over here, the next thing that I'm looking for is I want to go to that particular website. So I'm going to say wd.get and I'm going to give the URL, which is this chap. I'm not going to take this reference CT and all those things. You are just going to copy till https://github.com/signup. This is the only thing which I'm going to need and I'm going to paste it over here. Save it, click on the play button and voila. This is the page that we have. And I'm going to have the email address, password, username. There's a drop down that we need to work on. There is this checkbox and I'm going to click on create account. Okay. Probably I'm not going to click on create account, but at least we're going to just fill all these details. All right. So quickly write this particular code at your end. Just 2 lines of code. Quickly write it down. All right, guys. I hope you have written the code so far. Now, one more thing. The thing is, I want this particular browser to be launched in maximized mode. How are you going to do that? Sometimes people are going to say that you're going to use wd.manage.window.maximize, right? This is the whole script that you're going to probably tell me to write it down. Of course, it's going to work. But I think there's a better way to do that. Instead of writing this, you're going to say Chrome options. Chrome options is a class equal to new Chrome options dot add argument. Okay, and I'm going to give one of the argument _start -maximized. All right, and let's put a semicolon over here. Take this options chap, put it off over here, save it, click on the play button. Voila, right? Everything is like the entire browser is in maximize mode. Perfect. Just quickly introduce these 2 lines. Okay, this is also important. So what is Chrome options technically going to do? It is supposed to, manage your entire Chrome browser, and it is going to do that during the loading, the launching of your browser. Okay, when you're going to use wd.manage.window.maximize, what is going to happen is that your browser is going to be launched in the default screen size, meaning if I just remove this and I'm going to click on the play button, you will notice that it is in small size right now and then it gets maximized. That's the only difference. Okay. So if you want that during the launch itself, it has to be in the maximized mode, you're going to use the Chrome options. And ideally, this is technically a better approach to do this thing. Okay. Perfect. Now let's get started with automating this chat. First thing first, we see this email text box, right? We need to find this particular element. So what we will be doing, you know that, you're going to right click, click on inspect. Right click, click on inspect. A lot of time now, people use these different, what do you call as, locator finding tools, which are available over the internet. Okay. It's not that it's a bad tool or something, but it technically affects your learning. All right. In interviews, no one is going to tell you that, okay, you are supposed to use a certain tool. So you first understand the fundamentals. Okay. You need to be comfortable to read the elements, understand what is the hierarchy. Are you getting the point? So when you are studying with me, please don't use tools. Okay. I'm not going to use the tools. So please make sure you also make it a habit that you try to find the element by yourself. Are you getting the point? Anyways, so over here, we have a very simple text box, which is email. And looking at this particular element, I can say that the input ID is email. Life is good, right? Because over here, this particular element has a attribute ID, and ID is one of the locator of Selenium WebDriver. So blindly, I'm going to use this locator, ID locator. All right. Now, most of the time when people are working with Selenium WebDriver, they have this thing that they will be using find element method. Very bad approach. Please don't do that. Okay. If you're working with modern applications, I'm not talking about some WordPress website or some static pages. I'm talking about real world applications, whether you're using React.js or Vue.js. Okay. The main thing that comes over here is when you're going to work with modern web development stack, find element is not a very good approach to find the element. You're going to use your WebDriver wait. Okay. So I'm going to use WebDriver wait over here. I'm going to say WebDriver wait equal to new WebDriver wait. I'm going to pass the WebDriver. It requires a duration. So I'm going to say duration dot of seconds and seconds over here is going to be like probably 10 seconds. The moment you use WebDriver, all your exceptions are going to be timeout exceptions. This is also something that you need to be aware of. That when you're working with WebDriver wait, you will end up getting all your exceptions as timeout exceptions. So I'm going to say wait dot until expected conditions dot. We want this particular text box to be visible on the page. So I'm going to say visibility of element located by. Visibility of element located, and there is going to be a locator. What is the data type of the locator over here? By. All right. So we are supposed to give the locator. Locator is always going to have this data type as by. Please make a note of this particular point. When you're reading the description of by, it's written over here, mechanism used to locate elements within a document. All right. Mechanism used to locate elements within the document. So I want to locate it by ID. So I'm going to say by dot ID. Now you see this various locators, ID, name, your XPath, tag name, link text and all. What are these? If you go to this by class and you do a control O, my bad. Over here, you will find ID, link text, partial link text, name, tag name, XPath, class name, CSS selector, right? As well as some other methods popping up. Oh, but over here, this is technically a different method, so it's not a static method. But all the locators that we have now, all the locators, they are all static methods. So as I've said in interview, they have asked the question, what are the different locators in Selenium WebDriver? So you have ID, link text, partial link text, your name, tag name, XPath, class name, CSS selector. And these locators are what? They are methods. What kind of methods? They are static methods. Okay. So all the locators are basically static methods which belongs to the class by. By is an abstract class. Again, in interview, they can ask the question, why don't you create an object of a by class? Simple reason over here is, by is an abstract class. So how do you access these methods? These methods are static methods. So for accessing the static methods, we don't really need to create the object of the by class. All right. This is what learning is. Now, one more thing, guys. Just a moment back, I was having this one conversation with one of the student of the SDET masterclass. We generally have these one-to-one sessions. And the reason I conduct these one-to-one sessions because I want to track what the students are studying. Okay, if there is any kind of a blocker, then we want to resolve that particular blocker in the study so that people are able to complete the course fast. Okay, time is the most important essence. Now, over there, the student asked me that, Jatin, I'm really worried about this whole AI thing. I'm like, why are you worried? He's like, because he's telling that whenever he goes to LinkedIn, he sees all these posts. Okay, everyone is talking about some AI tool. And he's feeling that he should become an AI tester. So one question to you guys, okay? When you see the JDs popping up, how many AI tools have been written over there? Okay? And even if you guys are giving interviews in the world of AI right now, okay? Are you still giving coding questions? You're getting coding rounds, right? Then, how much Java they are asking you, right? They're asking you Java questions. They're asking you about automation framework. And once all these questions are done, probably they'll ask, okay, how you're using AI in your day-to-day work, okay? Which AI tool your company is using, okay? Here's the thing, guys. There's something that has changed, okay, in this AI world for your automation testing or just in the testing world. See, before the AI world, mediocrity was kind of accepted. Okay, if you were mediocre in writing code, your scripts were kind of okayish. These things were kind of, like forgiving. But now, when you have these AI tools, you're using Copilot, you're using Claude Code, you're using Cursor, okay, any of these AI tools. Now, mediocrity cannot be accepted. Are you getting the point? You can't just have the basic knowledge of Java or your Selenium WebDriver or your any of these libraries and expect that you will be able to crack your interviews. No, it's not going to happen. The simple reason is because let's assume that AI, your AI agents are generating code of as a person who's having 10 years, 15 years of experience. So when that code is getting generated, you should be able to understand it also. No? In future, if there is going to be some kind of a refactor that needs to be done in the AI generated code, you should be able to do it. No? One more thing. Let's say you joined a new company and over there, the framework is already created. Okay. The framework over there is already created. A lot of time I get texts from people that, they were able to crack the interviews, but when they're working on a particular project, when they see the framework, they get scared. They don't know how exactly this whole thing works. Now, the code, the framework probably was created by a human. Now, the framework will be created The initial boilerplate will be created by the AI agents. Okay. So we still need some ownership. Someone needs to take the ownership of the code, whether it was generated by AI agents or whether it was generated by humans. I can only take the ownership if I am good with my fundamentals. If I understand the code properly, I understand the context. The only thing which is getting automated in today's time is just the generation of the boilerplate code. So the time it required to generate or create a MVP has reduced. Okay, you will be able to automate, or you will be able to write a hell lot of test scripts in a day that used to take like probably a week or so. So in a day, if you were writing 2 test scripts, now you'll end up writing 4, 5, or even 10. But which test to focus on? What should be tested in that particular feature? It still needs to be decided by the person who is working on that particular project and not AI. So that's the reason, as I said, most of the time, okay, at least in today's time, I feel your IT roles are always going to be cross-functional. You need to be good in programming. You need to be good in testing. Yes, in the world of your AIs, testing is definitely going to increase a lot. Okay, human interventions are bound to come into picture because we really want to make sure that the code which has been generated by the AI, it's a working piece of code. So thorough testing needs to be done both by AI agents as well as your automation scripts as well as by UM. So exploratory testing is going to be more now. All right. And in order to do exploratory testing also, you need to have good understanding of your system design. Are you getting the point? So this is what I am able to see how the market is going to, change in coming months or coming years. And hence, one thing is very important. You have to be cross-functional. You can't run away from coding. You can't run away from understanding the fundamentals. I hope this part makes sense to everyone. Okay? Mediocrity is dead. Okay? Remember this thing. Mediocrity is dead. You can't be mediocre anymore. All right. Back to the topic now. So over here, if I go back to GitHub account automation, I'm going to say buy.id. And over here, for us, the value of ID was email. I'm going to paste it off over here. And next thing, I'm going to say this is going to be by email locator. All right. Or probably I'm going to give a good name, email text box locate. I'm going to copy this chap. I'm going to paste it over here. And what do I want to do with this chap? Okay. This whole thing which you see returns me what? What does this whole line is going to return me? It's going to return me web element. All right. So if you're not able to understand these things, your fundamentals are weak, guys. There is a dedicated lecture which I've created on the Red Buzz automation, Yatra automation, and other website. Please study those lectures. Over there, I've explained these things properly. Over here, we're going to have web element, and I'm going to call this email text box. Control Shift F, Control S, Control Shift O to do the import. Something is missing or what over here? Let me just see. This closes here. This closes here. Something is wrong. This got changed over here. This is going to be visibility of element located by. I hope you guys are writing the code along with me. And then I'm going to say email text box dot send keys. What should I call this? I'm going to just give probably a fake email ID. Jatin B Sharma 1234 @gmail.com. All right. Let's save this. Right click, run as Java application. Kaboom. Right. It works. This part is taken care. Let's save this. I need to pass options also over here because my browser was in default size. I want it in the full mode. Anyways, this is the code which I have written so far. If you want, you can pause this particular video, quickly write it down at your end so that, you are understanding the whole execution. This part is taken care. Now let's move on to the next one. This is password. And the moment I'm going to right click over here and I'm going to go to inspect. This is the password chap. ID again, password. Okay. The moment I see ID, right, I really don't go into any of these other locators. All right. I really don't want to go that. I just found ID. I'm happy with ID. I'm just going to choose ID. Okay. And I'm going to keep this password. And I'm going to keep this chap over here. Copy this. Paste it over here. Take this, put it off over here. And I'm going to say password. All right. Take this, put it off over here. Here. Remove the locator. Take this password text box, put it off over here. And I'm probably going to give some password. Let's say Katrina 12345 exclamation and 3. Okay, 1234 is fine. All right. Right click, run as Java application. All right. So email, password, both fields are filled. Next thing, username. This is what I want to focus on. Username. Let's go back to this chap. Right click, click on inspect. And over here, you see, this is your, what do you call? Your username, right? I don't know why it's not highlighting. Yeah, now it's highlighting. Input ID is login. Okay, so the moment I bring my cursor to this particular element, this chap is getting highlighted. So ID is login, copy login. This is the one which I'm going to use. Let's go back to Eclipse. Okay. Copy this. And I'm going to take this login. Let's put it off over here. And this is going to be username text box. Let's put it off over here, here. I forgot to remove the locator. Copy this, paste it off over here. I'm just going to put some random username. Jatin 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 x. I think so 6 should work. Let's see. Let's remove this. Right click, run as Java application. All right. 1 2 3. I'm fine with the error messages. I really just want to fill all the data. That's it. Okay. Was this difficult? Yeah. Was this difficult? No. Pause this particular video. If you guys have not written the code, I want you guys to first write this thing at your end. Execute it at your end first. Okay, quickly do this thing. All right, guys. I hope you have written the code. Now, here's the most interesting thing, guys. We need to focus on this particular drop down, right? We have this drop down over here. But here's the interesting part. Okay. If you notice, I'm supposed to select the country. And the moment I click on this, I get this another pop-up which comes over here. And I'm supposed to search for the country from this particular list. Or I can just type it and I'll probably get this particular country. Let's say I'm going to type India. So India is already selected. So again, it's coming from that suggestion box. Now, when you're going to have this kind of a drop down, you really can't work with select class. Okay. Let me give you a number. 95% of the website over the internet, which uses modern web development stack like your React.js, probably your Angular, or probably your Vue.js. Okay. You might not use select class on them. Okay. You have to create custom methods. So over here, guys, when I'm having this your country stuff, the first thing that we will be doing now, we'll try to locate this particular element. So let's do a right click, click on inspect. Okay. Let's bring this chap over here. Okay. And you will notice I'm able to see some kind of a span. But let me just bring this chap over here a little bit better. I can see a span. Okay. I can see a button. Let's scroll up. I can see a select panel. select tag is not there. The tag should be select. Over here, we have a select panel. Okay. So this is a custom component which has been created. So whenever you're dealing with these custom components and all, right, the approach is going to be a little bit different. So what we will be doing is first we will try to locate this whole chap itself. So I'm going to scroll up, up, up. I see this sign up and all those things. What else we are able to see? This is something else. This is this chap. Over here, we have this div ID country drop down container. I have this select panel. Okay. And over here, I have this button. All right, I'm going to use this button. Okay. So button is technically something I'm going to click, right? So if this button is there, I can click on the button. All right. And then probably that pop-up is going to come. So over here, I will be using ID select panel, right? This is the probably the locator. But here's the thing. When I'm looking at ID's value is select panel C1 BBB17. So all these alphanumeric numbers, right? This is gonna change. This is gonna change. We want to use ID, but ID is dynamic. There is going to be some part of the ID which is going to remain same, like select panel. This chap, I believe, is not going to change. Okay. So what we will be doing is we will be writing an XPath. I'm going to say find anywhere on the page. How do you say find anywhere on the page? 2/. Find anywhere on the page what? An element. What is the name of the element? Button. Square bracket. Now, here's the thing. That button must contain, okay, contains an attribute called ID. Called ID. And the value of ID, okay, must start with select hyphen panel. Okay, this is what we will be doing. Let's cross check whether it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control F over here. And you will notice I have this find by string selector or XPath. Let's zoom in a little bit so you guys can see properly. I'm going to say find anywhere on this page button that contains, okay, the attribute ID, okay, comma, and the value of that attribute should be select hyphen panel. Okay, it should start with select hyphen panel. And let's close this. It doesn't work. I believe we are supposed to remove the double quotes from here. All right. So your attribute ID, don't put it in double quotes. Okay. So I'm getting this 2/ button that contains @ID select panel. And you will notice it found this chap. You'll be like, "Arey Jatin, what if I want to use something else?" You can use that, of course. Okay. It's always better to go with then combinations. I want to have the @ID. I want to have ID as select panel, and it should have one more attribute. Probably type should be equal to button. So that's something that I want to do. I'm going to say and @type equal to button. This is the one. You'll be like, "Arey Jatin, I don't want to use this. I want to use something else." So you can use this labeled by, I can use this chap. Okay. I can remove this and I can put this. Okay. Better, na? Everyone happy. Okay. So this is technically the locator. And whenever you're creating an XPath, okay, if there is going to be anything which is going to be dynamic, you know, like in the next deployment, these numbers are going to change. Okay. This is auto-generated. So it's always better to use contains method. Okay. So copy this particular XPath. I'm going to go back to the Eclipse. Let's hit enter. And I'm going to say by country drop down button. Let's zoom in for you guys. Equal to by.xpath. This is that chap. Okay. And then I'm going to select this whole stuff. I'm going to keep it over here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to keep this chap over here. I'm going to paste this over here. Okay. But this chap over here is a locator. Whenever you're going to create a variable of by type, please make sure that you're using locator. And I'm going to paste this chap over here. You got the country drop down. Paste this. Dot. Click. Control Shift F. Fix the formatting. Let's zoom out. This is the code. Right click. Run as Java application. All right. You will see that this pop-up has come. Okay. It's not a pop-up. It's a modal. But still. Then we need to focus on this text area. All right. I'm going to right click over here. I'm going to click on inspect. Okay. I don't know what has happened to my Chrome. It's a little bit lagging over here for me. But anyways, again, I can see input ID select panel. Great. Okay. Type search. I want you guys to write the XPath for this text box. Okay. Let's hide this. Let's bring this guy over here. Let's zoom a little bit for you guys. Bear with me for a moment. Okay, this is the chap. This is that element. Okay. So over here, ID is select panel, then some alphanumeric numbers. Type is search. Okay, type is search. So I want to use these two attributes. Can you write the XPath? Start writing it off. I'll write it at my end. I'm going to say find anywhere on the page, input. All right. Now, if the element goes away, don't worry. Just right click over here again. Click on inspect. Here we are. It should contains what? It should contain an attribute ID and it should start with select hyphen panel. All right. So you will see that 99% it is working properly. Like one attribute is fine. But just in case in your office project, you are not able to work with just one attribute, you can use AND over here and you can give the second attribute an XPath. Clear? So this is what it is. And @type equal to search. This is what it is. This is for a text box. And in this text box, I'm going to write, let's say, Albania. Okay, this is the one I'm going to use. Okay, let's copy this also. I'll keep it for the future reference. Let's use this locator first. Let's go back. I'm going to say by country search text box locator equal to by.xpath. Paste this chap over here. Then what you're going to do, you're going to take this whole stuff, paste it over here. It's literally just a copy paste. Okay. I'm going to paste it over here. I got a text box. And what do you do to a text box? You try to send some keys, right? So I'm going to say country search text box dot send keys. And the text that I want to write over there is going to be Albania. Let's paste this chap over here. Let me just copy it properly. Paste it over here. All right. Let's say this. Right click, run as Java application. Perfect. Now, all we need to do is we need to click on this. That's it. So I'm going to right click, click on inspect. Okay. Inspect. Bring this guy to the left. Okay. Bring this guy over here. This is that chap. Okay. But here's the thing. We have a button whose data hyphen value is AL. But over here, I'm not able to see the text Albania. And it's fine. It's completely fine. Because at the bottom, I have a span which technically has a visible text Albania. Now, notice something, guys, which is really important, that, like this Albania, right? If I'm going to click over here, there's a lot of white spaces coming over here. Okay. So I want to find a span which has a visible text. The visible text should contain Albania, but we are not really interested in the span. We are interested in the button. So how we will do that? I'm going to do Control F. I'm going to say, find anywhere on the page a span. The span should contains the visible text. The visible text is going to be Albania. Okay. Let's close this and this. We got 1 of 1. Never ever click on a span. We don't click on a span. We either click on a button or a link. So over here, I'm not interested in the span. I am interested in the parrot. Kaboom. So what I did? CD dot dot. How you use this particular command? On your command prompt, on your git bash terminal, you write cd space dot dot. What happens when you put this dot dot? It takes you to the parent directory. Right? Same thing is happening over here. From the span, you take me to the parent of the span, and the parent of the span is nothing more than the button that we're looking for. Okay? It's the button that we're looking for. So this is the XPath for that button. So using the visible text, I'm going to that button. That's it. So what we are going to have by country button locator equal to by.xpath. Okay. And then what? I'm just going to literally copy this full stuff, man. Nothing fancy. Okay, paste it over here, take this chap, put it off over here, put it off over here. We need to remove this whole thing. Take this country button dot, click. Control Shift F, save it. I'm going to click on the play button. If everything is working, Albania is already selected over here. Now, next thing, we need to select this checkbox. I think this is going to be pretty simple, guys. Nothing fancy on this chap. Right click on inspect, and over here this chap basically has an ID. My eyes, all right, is always searching for ID. Okay, so IV is going to be user sign up marketing consent. This is what I'm looking for. I'm going to take this chap. Life is good, nothing else to worry on. Okay, by checkbox user consent checkbox. Even though, like we're just practicing, make it a habit that you give proper variable name. Because let's assume they're telling you in an interview that, hey, write the snippet and all. They're seeing how you're giving your variable's name, how you're coming up with the logic and all. So please make sure that you're using proper variable name. It really helps a lot. Okay. By.id. This was the ID, right? But I'll remove the unnecessary things. All right, done. Dusted. We want to click on it, right? So I'm just going to take the previous stuff, take this over here, put it off over here. All right, change it here, copy this, paste it here, save it, right click, run as Java application. Done, dusted, finish. Assignment solved. Now, this is the code which I have written. Now, this is where you can literally use AI. Okay. You first write the script. Okay. And you can give this particular script to your co-pilot. You can use it in your cursor and discuss how you can really improvise it off. 90% it is going to tell you that create the page classes. All right. Probably use a different locator or something like that. But if you are happy with your locator, your things are working properly, you really don't need to change off. Next thing that comes over here is, here I don't want to create page classes. This is just the assignment for your interview, right? They haven't asked to create a page class and all. Okay. So observe the coding standards. You can just literally use it for your coding standards, nothing else. As of now, for this assignment, that's what I feel. Okay. So over here, you will notice that for the drop down, we created this custom thing, right? We used to perform that manual operation. You saw that you were clicking on that button. From that button, the pop-up was getting loaded. And then we were selecting the country. And then again, we are supposed to click on the button. So these are something which are very common, okay, in a day-to-day applications when you're working with drop downs. So this is what it is. Technically, if it was my Office framework and all those things, I would have created custom utility. I would have created the custom utility for this drop down. All right. So that's it. I hope you guys have written the code. This is the whole stuff. And now we're gonna go to the notes. We're gonna quickly go through all the answers. Okay. So I'm gonna give you like a 2 minutes break if you want. You can literally take this, grab some water, tea, coffee, whatever works, and then we'll just revisit the document. All right, guys, we're just gonna quickly go through all these questions. We're just gonna skim this document because what I've observed is whenever there is these lectures where I'm going through the document and all, my watch time drops. If the watch time is going to drop, YouTube is not going to recommend this particular video. So I'm just gonna go through all these quickly, these answers. The document, you're going to find it in the YouTube Tech with Jatin membership. So if you're interested in getting this particular document, definitely try it off over there. Okay. Now, as I've said, the first question was, what is select class in Selenium? Of course, it's pretty simple. Select class is basically a built-in class in your Selenium WebDriver. And basically, it is used to handle your HTML select tag. Okay. So over here, the select class in Selenium is a built-in class specifically designed to handle HTML drop-down elements, your select tag. It basically provides you with convenient methods or APIs using which you can manipulate or handle your drop-downs. That's what it does. Okay. And the main thing over here is there are some methods that you should be aware of. You have to select by visible text, select by value, select by index. You're not going to use these methods for sure. Okay. Get option, get first, selected option is multiple. Most of the time when you're working in your Office project, right, you will end up using get select by visible text or select by value. Okay. Index, I don't think so you will be using. Because it's a class, right, you end up creating an object. So I'm going to say select equal to new select. And I'm going to just pass the web element of your drop down. So we need to find the element over here. Okay. Now, one thing you know that whenever we are working with Selenium WebDriver, please don't use what? Please don't use find element. Okay. Find element is a bad practice over here, guys. Please use explicit wait dot until. That's something that is going to be very useful for you guys. Now, here's the thing that you really need to be aware from the interview perspective, that select class only works with select tag. When I was automating your github.com, right, over there, we were having select panel as the tag. Can I use select class over there? No, you can't. Okay. It's only going to work with select tag. If you try to use it, you're going to get an exception over there, which was unexpected tag name exception. Okay. Just remember this exception name again for your interview. If used on non-select elements. For multi-select, deselect by visible text, deselect all methods, like go for those chaps. Now, what are other ways to handle drop-downs apart from select? See, the first thing is the one which we did. We try to understand how that particular feature works. You are supposed to click on that button. The modal is going to load. Over there, I'm supposed to type the country name. The list is going to get updated and then I'm supposed to click on it. So the first one is click and select from the list. Okay. You automate the entire process of selecting the country name or whatever the element you want to select from the list. The second one that is going to come is using your action class. Again, in action class, you are just trying to perform the human gestures, right? You're going to hover your mouse on a particular link. You're going to click on that. Okay. All those things happens over here with the actions class. You can also use JavaScript executor. We did not require it. That's the reason I did not do that. But that is also something you can do. And send keys for autocomplete. That is something that we have already done. Remember the country? I was supposed to type the country name and all. That was something which was there. So these are the 4 different ways using which you can handle the dropdown. Please go through this particular document. It's a really, really important document. And trust me, these questions which I've covered over here, these are all legit questions, like which was asked for this particular company. So I thought, let's keep it over there for you guys over there. All right. The next question that comes into picture is write the XPath for the login button. I've already shown you how to write the XPath. You can literally go through all these examples to just understand how this whole XPath thing works. It's going to save a little bit of your time over there. The next one was locators in Selenium. There are 8 locators: ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, CSS selector, and XPath. 8. All these 8 locators are what? All these 8 locators are 8 methods. What type of methods? They are static method. They belong to which class? They belong to by class. Do you create the object of by class? No, we don't create the object of by class because by class is an abstract class. If by class is an abstract class, does it have an abstract method? The answer is no. It does not have an abstract method. So remember you studied abstract class interview questions with Meena. Over there, what did I define? How did I define that abstract class? Abstract class is a class which may or may not have abstract methods. By class is an example for that. One more thing. How do I access these methods if I can't create the object? These are all static methods. What does these methods return? What does these locator method returns us? It returns us by reference. Okay? This is how you're supposed to study. Just because the topic of a locator in Selenium, what did we do? We did a cross questioning over here. Okay? Whatever you know about that particular topic, okay, you just write it down, ask yourself, and this is how you will get better in your studies, okay, or better in this particular topic. Talking about the locator priority, everyone knows that we are supposed to use ID first. Once ID is used, great. But if ID is not there, you're going to go with the second best, which is name. If name is not there, ID is not there, go for CSS selector. If CSS selector also you don't want to use, then go for XPath. Okay. So these are basically the priority of using your locators in your Selenium WebDriver. Next, difference between find element and find elements. Everyone knows this is a pretty simple one. Just quickly go through this one. When we are talking about find element is going to return me single web element. Find elements is going to return me list of web element, no match found. If your locator does not help in finding any element, you're going to get no such element exception. But in your find element, you're going to get a list which is empty. You're going to get a list which is empty. Multiple matches. If your locator is not unique, you are having multiple elements with the same locator, then you are only going to get first match when you're using find element. But in find elements, it's going to return all the matches. Okay, it's going to return you all those elements. Use case, when you want to find unique element, go for find element. If you want to find all the elements, go for find elements. But remember one thing, I've written it over here for you guys. You will not use find element or find elements in your modern applications like React.js. Better use WebDriver wait. This line is very important. Is this part clear to everyone? You guys can go through this particular stuff. What are the different types of wait? You have your implicit wait, explicit wait, fluent wait. Implicit wait is going to be applicable to the global level, to all the find element methods. Okay, wherever you're using wd.find element, implicit wait gets applicable over there. Whether I want it or whether I don't want it, it is going to get applied if you're using your implicit wait. Driver.manage.timeout implicit wait. This is how you set your implicit wait. Explicit wait is one more important thing. When you're talking about implicit wait now, it only waits for the element to be present in the DOM. Okay, it is not going to check whether the element is clickable or visible and all. No, presence means it is present in the DOM. DOM means that HTML tree structure which is there. No? It's going to be present over there, but the element may or may not be shown on the page. Are you getting the point? So if you want a more control and more precise expected conditions, it is better to use explicit wait. Okay. So explicit wait is going to give me more precise and flexible compared to your implicit wait. And it provides various expected conditions like visibility of element located by, which we have used like anything in the like in the GitHub automation. Then you have element to be clickable, presence of element to be located by, all these things. Perfect. Please make sure you go through all these points. One more thing, default polling of explicit wait is what? 500 milliseconds. If I want more granularity, I want more control on explicit wait, then I will be using fluent wait. Are you getting the point? So this is basically more flexible wait, and it allows custom polling time. I can ignore certain kind of exceptions. So over here, I'm saying the timeout is going to be 30 seconds. Polling every 500 milliseconds, which I can customize. Ignoring no such element exception. Okay. So during the wait time, if certain exceptions are going to come into picture, that also I can ignore it off with the help of fluent wait. Clear? Okay. There's a comparison table. Please make sure you go through all this stuff. Okay. So that's all what we have for today. Okay. We're going to wrap this particular stuff over here. Now I'm going to see you guys in the next class. If you have watched the video till here, please make sure you mark your attendance. Also, I have seen that people watch the lecture, but they don't subscribe to this particular channel. Please guys, if you have watched the video till here, you found any value in this entire content, please subscribe it off and please share your learning on LinkedIn. Okay. We put a lot of effort in creating such contents for you guys. And if you feel that this content has given you certain value, please share your learning on LinkedIn so that, this content reaches a wider audience. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to see you guys in the next class. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. Good night.